to be a part of that. So, okay. So today we are talking about the third principle of unity. I first want to start by sharing with you some thoughts from Emmett Fox. Now, Emmett Fox was a well-known New Thought metaphysician in the early 20th century. He was there 1886 to 1951, and he's most well-known for the fact that during the Great Depression, he had a very strong and thriving divine mind science church. And I love what he says about this. He says, "We are all supremely interested in one subject. There is one thing that means more to us than all other things in the world put together, and that is our search for God and the understanding of God's nature. The aim of the metaphysical movement is to teach the practice of the presence of God." I love that. I've never heard that put so concisely, that the aim of the metaphysical movement, the aim of what we are about, is to teach the presence of the practice of God. And we practice the presence of God by seeing God everywhere, in all things, in all people, despite appearances to the contrary. So that's our big, like, oh, there's that little addendum there, despite appearances to the contrary. And I really truly believe that this is what our journey on this earth is really all about. It's about our personal experience of and our personal expression of the nature of God. To experience the presence of God and to express God. Now, this is going to show up differently in different ways, and I know, in the past when I used to think, to be so spiritual means I have to be like a monk or something, and that's fine if that's the journey that somebody wants to go. But for me, it means living fully the life that you have been given in the unique way that only you can live it. To really, open ourselves up to what are the gifts? What is it that makes my soul sing? What do I know that I absolutely love and that I have natural gifts at, and expressing those gifts. And again, they're going to show up in all different ways. So we start, and you can say these with me. Principles: God is, I am, I ask, I pray, I release, and I act. And of course, we're moving them to God is for me, I am for me, my thoughts are for me, my prayers are for me, my releasing is for me, and my actions are for me. So this whole movement here is that this is all for us. I loved the meditation today, and how you took each of those three things and really brought them. I felt like they were brought right to where I needed them. And the first, of course, is that God is the one presence, one power, all good. And that's why we know that God is for us. God is the purity of love. Could be nothing but that. So God is never against us. God, this universal energy of love, is always for us. And then the second, I am. I am not all that God is, but all that I am is God. And in that, that's our I amness. I was listening to something on Oprah the other day, and the sentence was, the fingerprint of the soul. And I loved that, because to me, it's like we each have our individual fingerprint of the oversoul, the bigger soul, the greater soul, and that is our individual I amness. It's the Christedness of us that expresses. So today is I ask, and let's say this together: my thoughts are for me. I love Mary Englebright's quote here: if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change the way you think about it. And this is absolutely true. Part of what we're talking about today, this is with the third principle, is called the law of mind action. And essentially what that is that thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. Now this week we're going to be focusing on some thought processes that's going to really have to do with the thinking. Next week we're going to bring the thinking and the feeling together, because this is where this thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. You can have flitting thoughts, but they're really not going to produce much. But when you start feeling your thoughts and they become an emotion, then you're going to start seeing manifestations and things in your life. So this week is more focused on the thinking process of this. It's based on the fact that thoughts become things. And we've all heard about the law of attraction, yes? Sure, we've all heard about the law of attraction. And sometimes I think the law of attraction gets a bad rap. And I don't think it was anything ever purposeful. I think that was just how it had to be presented to the public in general to get everybody's attention. But it came across as kind of this, it's all about accumulating things. And you know what? Accumulating things is great. That's fine. I mean, but what we're going to be talking about today is not just about manifesting the perfect job or the perfect home or the perfect car. Those things are going to be effects of this first deeper movement that we want to make today. So today it's more about creating the conditions in our consciousness that support our greatest and deepest desires that allow me to be authentically all that I came here to be. Let me say that again. Today is about creating the conditions in my consciousness that support my greatest and deepest desires that allow me to be authentically all that I came here to be. Okay, so we're reconditioning our mind. We're reconditioning our thoughts. And part of this is really getting to what is it that we authentically want? Because the reality is that we have been living in a society that it is all about, if you get this, you're going to feel this way. If you take this medication, you're going to have this great relationship over here. If it keeps telling us it's outside, it's outside, it's outside. And so we think we want all these things out here. But as we really start to sink back inside, what we're going to start to discover is it was never about those things out there ever. That it was all about what I'm going to talk about next, which is, I'm going to focus on this two ways today. These may not be the correct terms, and I know that, but I'm going to use them anyway. So the first one that I'm going to talk about this process in the realm of involution and evolution. Now, in the realm of involution, what I mean by this is I want to be involved in a deep inner way with this creative energy of the universe. This is my involution. This is where I'm going to take time and I am going to, go to that first principle, God is for me. I am going to really take time to sit in that awareness that and to be involved is an active process. You can't be involved in something without there being action in that. So I'm going to allow myself to be really involved in this greater, grander, creative, intelligent mind that is always for me. That is always for me. I'm going to allow myself to feel the essence of this greater, grander mind. And we did some of that on Wednesday night with some meditation, and it's fun to just kind of expand yourself, move. And the idea here is we want to move beyond the limited ideas and beliefs. We want to move beyond those things that have kept us so small and so stuck. So we're talking first here now then about the first two principles. God is, I am. It's perfect. I don't know that anybody ever sat down and really said, okay, this is the way they have to go. But I love how Spirit always moves things in just such a perfect direction. Because we're going to focus from the God is, I am perspective first. So the first way that we're going to focus on this is that I truly can be for myself when I allow my thoughts to be immersed in the greater reality that is always for me. We have to take time to really focus on God is for me, love is for me, no one and nothing is against me. Really allow ourselves to fully sink into this. And I love this. I live in a friendly universe. I live in a friendly universe. Do you believe that you live in a friendly universe? I live in a friendly universe. I live in a friendly universe. I live in a friendly universe. God is for me. And if God is for me, guess what? My I amness is for me. because my I amness is the fingerprint of the oversoul. So this that is my greater reality inside of and expressing through me is for me as well. And the reason why this is so important for us to really sink back into and to get is because then I can trust that whatever is occurring in my life is for me somehow. Whether it's an illness, whether it's a relationship breakup, whether it's an abundance issue, whether it's meeting a new love, whether it's a new job that brings you jazz and joy, all of it is for us. It will be used for our greater good. Even if it appears that something in your life has been against you, if physical reality tells you this person betrayed you and they did betray you, where we want to go with it is, and God is going to use this for my greater good. And the sooner that I sink back into that and line up with it, I'm going to start having a different experience. And if I stay over here, right, in victimhood and blame and things like that. So, let's say together, I live in a friendly universe together. I live in a friendly universe. God is always for me. God will take that divine intelligence is going to take everything at every nanosecond and immediately begin using it for greater good. Immediately, it cannot help but be in the flow of love, which is the greatest harmonizer and healer immediately. Okay, the other aspect of this in involution is the involution, in the involution of our thoughts, is the I amness, is that all that we are truly seeking already resides right here within us. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you. And we talk about this a lot, but this is where we want to become really involved with these qualities. Because the reality is that as we're looking at what we want in our life, and even as we've been guided in a sense in our world to, this new car is what's going to make me joyful, this whatever is what's going to make me peaceful, this outward kind of focus, it's always about the experience. It always is. I get a new car and I get in that new car and what do I feel? I feel good. I feel freedom. I feel peace of mind, maybe. I'm in this relationship and I feel connected. The reality is these are the qualities of God. This is the kingdom that is already within us. And so as we start to kind of step back and we say, okay, what is it that I am really seeking here? I'm seeking oneness. I'm seeking creativity. I'm seeking abundance. I'm seeking connection or freedom. The idea here is that we become involved with those qualities that are right here within us. That's our I amness. What would it feel like if I got up in the morning and I looked out in my garage and there was a new car and it started every time and the heater worked every time? What would that feel like? And you can get to that feeling place. And this is the qualities. We become involved, we become active in those qualities. What would it feel like if I went to work today and people smiled and they were happy? And we start to bring those thoughts, and they'll eventually become a vibration. But that's the whole point of this, is that as we become the qualities that we are seeking, then all these things are added unto us. But the really cool thing about it is as they're added unto us, we found that we never needed them to begin with. And now they don't own us. Because you know what? If they disappear, it doesn't matter, because I've got the quality in me. So it's really just an amazing and awesome process and journey. And the cool thing is it just keeps expanding and expanding and expanding. So that's the involution. This is where we are creating from the inside out. Now this leads us, it cannot help lead us to what I would call the evolution. And what I mean by evolution is that we are going to allow to evolve from within us the life that we truly desire. We're going to start with the God is I am, but now we're going to go to what Albert Einstein says, your imagination is your preview to life's coming attractions. This is where we must truly get that we are co-creators. You know, our rat formation, which I want to start getting that back into our service again, is we are co-creators with the universal mind. We shape and form and mold it, and it brings forth of its kind. That's why my life is good and it just keeps getting better. You know, we recognize it's not doing it for us. That no matter what our experience has been, guess who's been the co-creator? You. We are the co-creators of our experience. Here, I want to tell you just for a moment what the basic teaching of unity is, and that is that we do not believe that we control every event that happens in our lives. There are too many people running around with free will. Weather changes happen, but we do believe that we affect every experience of every event in our lives based on our thinking, with our attitude. We also believe that as co-creators, we have the opportunity, and not just the opportunity, but my friends, it's a privilege to create a desire with a strong intention through the power of focused thought, words, and actions, and literally manifest in our lives. How many of us have done it? And we know we've done it. We know it. You know, so we are powerful co-creators in this life experience. And the thing is that we have to start waking up to that. You know, it's an amazing thing. I wrote myself a note, but I don't know what it says. Okay. I'm like, what does that? Great news something. Not all at once. I don't know why I said that. Okay. I just had Mary Mann and Morrissey. I want to read. I loved this. And this was actually a little blurb that I put on the radio program for next week. It says, even a 1 degree shift in your thinking, a 1 degree shift in your thinking can cause a massive change in your life over time. When you create the conditions you need to shift your thinking even 1 degree, you have created the platform for future success. That change 6 months down the road takes you to a whole new place. If you will allow yourself time in your daily life to devote making those little shifts in your thinking habits, even the smallest shift will make a big difference. A 1 degree shift in our thinking. How many of us think we could do that? Yeah, that's why I wrote great news, not all at once. I just put it at the top. Is that we don't have to be so overwhelmed that, oh my gosh, you know, my thinking is stinking in my finances, and my thinking is stinking in this, and I've got, you know, it's overwhelming. I got to change all of it. 1 degree shift. 1 degree shift. And this God is I am. That's a huge shift right there. It is all for me. God is for me. I can trust it. Even that right there. Now, I'm going to talk for just a moment about how do we change our thoughts, and Ephesians 5:14 is one of my favorite verses. Wake up, O sleeper, and rise from the dead, that Christ may shine the light on you. We have got to wake up. We have got to start becoming consciously aware. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. We must start being willing to be open to looking at what is going on in our own consciousness. Now, our words express our thoughts most of the time, so one easy way for us to begin realizing where is my consciousness is by listening to your words, or by being aware of the words that you're willing to listen to and take in and believe as true. Online, there's on Facebook something called Atma Namaste, Spiritual Bliss. And it says, do you live as if your cup were half full? How cognizant are you of the fact that what you say is directly correlated with the outcome that you will get? If you continually speak of your life as you never feel good, things never turn out right, nothing positive comes your way, you'll more than likely end up being right. But you can choose to take all of your experiences and channel them into your own reality show based on fear and anxiety, or you can think of all the difficulties as opportunities to create something new. That right there is more than a 1-degree shift. When we can finally say, "Yeah, my life doesn't suck. My life isn't falling apart. My life is falling together. Somehow, these endings are new beginnings." We can start shifting that. That right there is going to, 6 months down the road, is going to make such a huge difference in your life. He goes on to say it takes a lot of vigilance to be the guardian of your thoughts, words, and deeds, and you're often at the mercy of years of conditioning that make you operate as if you're on autopilot. When you use language such as, "if only," "I wish," "I can't," you're dismissing the possibility of today. Why maintain the familiarity of the past and nurse the fear of the future? So our words tend to describe our reality. What we want to start working on this week is having our words describe our desire. Okay? And here's the great thing. Our words do tend to describe our consciousness, but the great news is we can use words to start to shift our thinking process too. Okay, so it works both ways. So the question that I'm going to have a couple questions for you today. What am I willing to open myself up to and expand my thinking in? Karen Taylor Good has a song that Joe's going to do for the second song, and it's called "Get a Bigger Pan." And it's about a man who is fishing and another person's there, and the man's catching all these small fish, but as he's catching the bigger fish, he keeps throwing the bigger fish back in. And finally the person's like, "Why do you only keep the small fish and not the bigger fish?" And the reason was that he only had a pan that would fit the small fish. And so the response was, we'll just get a bigger pan. And interestingly enough, fish represent ideas. Metaphysically, fish represent ideas. And so we can either have these cute little goldfish thoughts, or we can have a bigger consciousness and have whale-sized thoughts. And even as I was writing this, I was thinking, how many times have I heard somebody say, "That was a whale of a thought"? And now I'm like, that's good. We can move out of those smaller ideas. So next week, we're going to talk about affirmative prayer, and we're going to talk about some practical tools for reshaping our thoughts. But here's what I want to encourage you to do this week. For this week, I would like to encourage you to take some time to really sink into those first 2 principles. God is, I am. I live in a friendly universe. God is for me. My I amness is for me. So to really sink into that, because you're reconditioning your thoughts in that. You're moving out of, you're opening yourself up to letting go of any of that old stuff. And you're saying, I am willing to get into the divine flow of this. Now, the second thing that I'm going to invite you to do is a more practical step. I'm going to invite you to think about your health, your relationships, your skills, how you think about possibilities, any area of your life. And in thinking about these things, let yourself be very honest with yourself. And what is it that comes up for you? What are those thoughts that come up for you? What's the feeling? Because I'll tell you what, your feeling nature is going to tell you where your thinking is. Does it feel good? Do you feel the pit in your stomach? And then take some time with that, and if you can, write those thoughts out so you can start seeing that these are the thoughts. Because next week we're going to talk about now how to shift those thoughts, through some very practical tools, and then ask yourself, do I need to, and am I ready to get a bigger pan? Are you ready to get a bigger pan? Yes, we are ready to get a bigger pan. We are ready to move out of limited ideas and beliefs, and to truly allow, and really this is all about what our mission statement is, to empower each of us to be authentically all that we came here to be, to allow the soul, the thumbprint of the soul of God, that unique expression that we were created to be, to express in all of its magnificence, in all of its glory. So let's close by affirming together the first 4 things. Together, God is for me. I live in a friendly universe. I am for me, and my thoughts are for me. And so it is, and so it shall be. Namaste. Namaste.